Welcome to the Freedom Camp Podcast, rooted in truth, growing in freedom, and built on the belief that you weren't meant to grow alone. Each week, I'll share honest stories, insights, and simple questions to help you explore the unseen things that keep you from living in the freedom that's already yours. And take brave, intentional steps toward the life you were made for. This is your space to reconnect with your authentic self and grow in freedom on purpose.
Women often start new habits full of excitement and motivation, but they burn out because they misjudge the energy it actually requires to sustain it. This episode helps you recognize your unique frequency for freedom and connect to a pace that feels energizing, not exhausting. Have you ever started a new habit and felt that initial spark only to burn out a couple weeks later? It might have nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with you trying to run at someone else's frequency. This is something that I have been fighting through for myself and got so much freedom in through the coaching that I do either with Freedom Camp or individually. So the way that I got freedom from it is seeing that we all have a unique rhythm of change. We all have a unique pace that we go at, and sometimes that pace needs to shift and bend and move depending on what we're doing. But there's kind of this like undercurrent that we each often bring to the table. So maybe you are someone that moves fast, and maybe you could use a little grounding. Or maybe you move at a more steady pace, and you need sparks of energy to help you to stay inspired. With coaching, the type of coaching that I do, I'm not telling you what to do and how to do it. I am walking with you in theory, and sometimes having walking coaching calls where we are exploring. You are exploring whatever your challenge is, and I am walking along with you, focused on you. And what that ends up meaning is sometimes I'm listening, focused on you. You're talking about, oh, I just wish that I could lose 10 pounds, for example. And I could, if I was in friend mode or if I was in teacher mode or something. Oh, well, did you know if you da 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 da? And I could map the whole thing out for you, and I could say in 1 month you will lose 10 pounds. However, that's going at someone else's frequency. Maybe that's not your frequency. Maybe you're more of a steady person. Maybe you need 3 months to lose weight. Maybe you're a mom with 3 kids under 5, and you're lucky to have 15 minutes to work out a day. Maybe. The point to the whole thing is being able to see that you need to go at your pace and you need to factor in the rest of your life in order to find that sustainable pace. Conversely, me learning to give myself freedom, oftentimes when I'm working with my coach, meaning, I'm being coached, say I'm stuck on something, we're working through it, and there's often a teaching, a philosophy that at the end-ish of a coaching call, you say something like, okay, well, what are you walking away from now? What are you taking from this? What is the next step for you? Is there any support that you need, et cetera, et cetera? And what I have learned to give myself permission for, and what she has learned to not really ask, is is those questions, because typically I don't need support and I don't even need to repeat it. We've already discussed it. I'm already clear. And in the process of that, sometimes we even end the call early because I'm like, I've got 8 minutes left before my next coaching thing or whatever I'm doing. And I could go ahead and make some progress towards this because now the energy is alive. It's like it's a rocket. It's under me. I'm ready to go. So that's what we're going to be learning about today. I'm going to lead you through some questions that you can ask yourself to help you find your unique frequency for freedom. So if you've got a journal, go ahead and pull that out. If you don't, come back to it later. We can still walk through this and you can just, answer the questions in your mind, so to speak. So, when you start a new healthy habit, what does the energy usually feel like? Is the first question. This is kind of your base. And then when do you tend to lose motivation? When or how do you tend to lose motivation? Or if it's not motivation, what's the challenge? What then makes it difficult for you? Maybe you're still totally motivated, but time is a factor. Money is a factor, location, etc. Two more for here. What does your body do to tell you that you're pushing too hard? And then what does your body do to tell you that you're not engaging enough? Maybe you're it's too gentle. It's too one little baby itty bitty tiny teeny step. Maybe you could be doing more. So in when we were going through this with Freedom Camp, there was a lot around well, we were all across the board for what does our energy usually feel like. Some of us are like slow and steady, some of us are like a rocket. The motivation part, or the challenge, what makes it difficult to like stay in it? Sometimes it was around energy internally, but it started from an external, usually family, work, time, money, something external that then applied pressure to the energy. My body tells me I'm pushing too hard by being really sore, for example, if you're working out too much. Your brain, like decision fatigue, if you're um, trying to take on too much, maybe mentally at too fast of a pace. Um, and then my body tells me I'm not engaging enough by, and this was again kind of across the board, but the general consensus was things like I'm getting distracted. I forgot about the habit. Um, I'm not seeing results fast enough. That was another big thing, was connecting what the habit is with a result. So often it's like the result is I want to lose 10 pounds. The habit is I'm now going to walk 10,000 steps a day, thinking that that is going to get you to that end goal of losing 10 pounds. And so there ended up being like, okay, well, maybe someone started off by saying, um, I'm gonna walk 5,000 steps a day. And then they realized like, oh, I could push a little harder and I could do 7,000 steps because they've been doing it for a month and they've only lost 1 pound, that type of a thing. So now we're going to look at identifying your frequency and what that actually means for you, looking at your energy. So this question is around what is one word that best describes your current energy? And this is thinking in terms of creating a new healthy habit. What is your energy? So, for example, maybe you're like outgoing and bubbly and fun, but when it comes to creating a new healthy habit, and your new healthy habit is, I don't want to eat any sugar, you're like, and you're just a big grump about it. That would that would impact the whole thing of not eating any sugar. That goes back to something we've talked about before, like, I have to versus I get to type thing. So, the question again is, choose a word that best describes your current energy around starting a new healthy habit. So maybe it's you're grounded, you're determined, you're intense, maybe you're expansive, maybe you are steady, maybe disciplined, maybe gentle. So then the question to ask yourself is this energy helping or hindering your growth? Um, in terms of expectations, oftentimes, again, with that example of losing 10 pounds, if you set out to walk 5,000 steps a day and you think you're going to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, granted, depending on where you are, maybe you will, but maybe it's going to be 10,000 steps. Maybe you're going to need to bring more energy to that, or you're going to need to adjust your expectation and know that maybe your energy is absorbed in being a mom. Maybe you are caring for a loved one. Maybe you are working 60 hours a week. That has to factor in because we only have so much energy. So, is this energy helping or hindering your growth? And then, what frequency or what energy will support your next healthy habit best? So, again, that goes back to like, oh, I get to do this. How do I see this as a gift? How do I see this as alignment? How do I see this as cooperation? And when we think about the way that God has created this whole world, like day, night, seed time, harvest, the seasons, I look out the window and the beautiful dogwood tree, the leaves are turning this deep, beautiful red. They're starting to fall. And immediately it draws me to this alignment, this cooperating with the energy, with the fullness of it. So when we leave the leaves on the ground, the carbon goes into the soil, the nutrients go into the soil, it decomposes and it rebuilds the soil, not to mention all of the bugs that use it as a home. And now comes spring, when the acorn that fell in the wintertime, it's now been watered, it's been covered, it can now grow into a beautiful oak tree, for example, or the flower seed, or the pine cone, or. The point is, there's a natural rhythm and a natural cycle to things. And we are actually a part of that rhythm, especially when we connect with it, when we connect with the fullness of our own individual ecosystem, and then even the larger, broader ecosystem as well. So that is, to me, like a beautiful example of how even in the way that God created and designed this beautiful planet that we live on, there is this energy flow, and that we can participate with it, or we can just like fight with it. Also, pro tip from my other life as a farm homesteader, leave the leaves on the ground. You want them. If you absolutely do not want them under the tree, then move them and put them in your garden bed, put them in your flower bed, put them in the compost, and and mix them with some nitrogen things because those are going to be carbon, and you're going to have this amazing, living, rich soil come next spring. That was a little side rabbit trail. Okay, so aligning. Now we're going to align the energy with the habit. So we have looked at what our energy is like. Now we're going to pick a habit that we want to sustain for some period of time. 2 weeks, like the rest of the month, maybe the rest of the year, maybe 90 days, whatever that ends up being, whatever that makes sense for you. And then we want to identify, well, what's the energy that is going to be required for sustainability? So not just for the immediate moment, and not maybe just your natural tendency, but what's going to be required for sustainability. And then you also want to look at the pace. So is it a daily? Is it an hourly? Is it a weekly? Or maybe it's a flexible rhythm. So if you think of something like, maybe if your word was gentle, you may want to stretch early in the morning. Maybe you want to incorporate X time of reading the Bible early in the morning or late in the afternoon, whenever it is. The point is something that is more gentle, something that is nourishing and healthy and good that you want to do, but it also has this kind of gentleness to it. If your word is steady, maybe you want to walk for an hour or 30 minutes at 3 o'clock every day, or whatever time makes sense for you. If your word is expansive, maybe you want to check out some new hiking places. Maybe you want to even say, an hour radius, and you want to connect with a different friend each week or the same friend every week. And you want to choose to, we're going to drive to this place. We're going to go on this 8-mile hike. We're going to pack a picnic lunch. We're going to hang out. It's going to be awesome. That's kind of like just little examples of what I mean by looking at what your energy, what your frequency is at this moment in your life. Maybe you used to be just like a total go-getter, but you don't have the capacity for much more right now. So in this area, you are gentle. Maybe you're going hard at work, or you're going hard with momming or whatever. But in this area, you're going gentle. And that's the other part of this. This isn't like a one size fits all. We're looking at doing this to grow in freedom. So sometimes we can devote and give a lot of energy towards our growth and freedom. Sometimes it needs to be a bit more gentle. Again, thinking of the seasons. Spring and summer, like just full of energy, coming up out of the earth, coming from the sun, all the rain, the storms. Then you think about fall and you think about winter, and it's a calmer energy. It's a more gentle, slower, just chill, like that kind of a thing. So to wrap up, I've got 2 questions to consider and even journal on. So one is thinking about just the last 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. What have you learned about your sustainable pace and your frequency of freedom through answering these questions? Maybe this is old news for you. Maybe you've never thought about energy and how it connects with creating and sustaining healthy habits before. So, and then what adjustment will help you to stay rooted and steady as you grow in freedom? For me, it is flexible, because sometimes there is too many other things going on, And it's not that my growth and freedom stops, but it's not like the sole focus of my life. At other times, well, it's never the sole focus of my life, but at other times, there is a lot of energy behind it and focus and intention around it. So, sustainable change is not about speed, it's about staying in rhythm and staying in alignment. It's really when we honor our own pace that we build a life that lasts, that we build into that life of freedom that we were created to live. So, if this resonated with you, please like it, subscribe it, share it with a friend. Comment with your word for this season. What's the energy that you are currently bringing to your growth or want to bring to your growth? And let's keep finding our frequency of freedom together.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom Camp podcast, where we believe freedom is nurtured from within and grows when you tend to it. If this stirred something in you, let it take root this week and see what grows. And if you enjoyed this or found it meaningful, please give the gift of a review, share it with a friend, and leave a comment below. It helps us build this podcast community because we weren't meant to grow alone.